Welcome everybody, and my little review of AEW Dynamite. I haven't watched AEW in quite a long time, I will admit. So in some aspects, I was sort of lost, uh, you know. But still, I was like, I'm always here to watch wrestling, so therefore, I'm always going to be involved in some type of way of maybe I haven't watched AEW. I was like, but I've watched snippets or I've watched matches of particular people and particular matches. So so I was like, with this one, with Eddie, like it started out with Eddie Kingston and Claudio, and they doing title for title thing, and I was like, last time I was really on this was pretty much at the very beginning where they had the like I guess like the version of Hell in a Cell type of thing, and Claudio took the pin from Eddie Kingston. So how we got to here, that's a whole different story that I am not too fond. I mean, not fond of, but I was like, I'm not aware of in that way. But match itself really good. I was like, the crowd was rocking for Kingston. They were really on board for him, and but I was like, be honest, he's always sort of been a crowd favorite anyway. He's always a good talker of shit, and whatnot. So he's a good street talker. Then he does, and he basically just like rough him up, rowdy guy that gets it going. But it was a good match, all in all. I was like, Eddie Kingston came out with a victory. I was like, this take both title, which I mean, didn't think. I mean, even in my little like, from my little like vantage point, I was like, I didn't think that he was gonna lose or anything. But no, just a hard hit match, especially like Claudio. With the uppercut. You had Mox and Phoenix. I was like, I'm always sort of I was like, well, I mean, I was like, I like Mox. I was like, it's been sort of hit and miss here lately. I was like, he does a lot of blood matches and stuff like that in a way that I'm like, but I'm always interested in the Phoenix and like Pentagon, and so Phoenix picked up the victory here. I was like, Mox always sort of put somebody over and let somebody else sort of take the championship after he sort of takes it, from somebody. But that's like in a way, it's like had to kind of thing, after he took it from beat Orange Cassidy, not took it from him. But then you had Sammy Guevara. I was like, there was Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. I was like, great match. I was like going back and forth. I was like, Guevara was really, really out to prove that he's better than Jericho, and you've seen a lot of how Guevara is in sort of like all his matches where he just basically wild. He just over here taking spots, doing not unnecessary stuff, but like even on commentary, they would just like, oh, he got Chris Jericho. He should just do it now. He'll do something else that get Chris Jericho back in the game and stuff like that. And he just kept sort of doing that in a way that where you was like where it's like you thought you was like, okay, he might actually lose this, because I was like, oh no, this would be Guevara finally beating Jericho and getting his come up and say, show he could be a top dog. But no, they had Chris Jericho win, and they thought they were gonna handle it like, boy, like, man, settle it. Because I was like, that's sort of been that was like this, and that's sort of been, you can sort of see that to be the theme of the night, because like Claudio and Kingston, they shook hands and went about their way. But basically, he pulled the wool over Jericho's eyes and whatnot, and basically backstabbed him and walked out with Callahan, and so I guess like the ultimate heel turn, or well, we always sort of with Sammy, because he's sort of back and forth with Jericho all these years. That and I was like, he can't beat him. Yo, forget this, we done. Um, then we had there was a Saraya versus Tony Storm, and this is another one that I was like, I missed out on time on, where I was like, wait, I thought it was them three and they would be in. together, and they were being like misfits or outcasts or whatever. And then, I peeped in, like, I was like, oh man, okay, maybe Tony Storm just doing a new gimmick, this is whole like type of thing. And nope, I was like, they're just sort of separated. Okay, cool. I was like, I have to go back and like check all that out. I was like, let's somebody give me a synopsis on like all these. Give me like what is it, the cliff notes of everything or whatnot. That'd be also greatly appreciated. But anyway, also I was like another good match. I was like told a real story here. Plus, it's like one of the better women's matches in and like actual like like I was like, not gonna say that. But I was like, didn't think that Toni Storm was gonna win this one. I was like, had a chance for her to be a 3-time champion, and I was like, to me, I wouldn't see no knock, but I was like, I feel like that's something that they would save for somebody else. Like, to me, I was like, if Britt Baker become like became like a 3-time, I could see that a lot more. But and then also this being Raya's also her first match, also win the championship. I also feel like that'd be also very quick to also take her off of that as well too. But also shout out to her for her being able to come back and be in matches and stuff like that as well in general. But yeah, no, I was like, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of twists and turns where I thought that Tony was going to get it, from the shoes to taking out Ruby a bit. I was like, the kiss, and then take basically flipping her, but they didn't get the pin or whatever like that either. But Soraya gets a match, and last but not least, the MJF versus Samoa Joe, and I was like, I've seen like I've been seeing their whole thing from MJF, Samoa Joe getting up in front of the shut face kid, that whole thing. So I've been keeping up on their little beef. I was like, I also, side note, I think all the stuff been funny of like Roger Strong with his whole neck and neck strong and stuff like that. And with Adam Cole, I've been thinking that's been hilarious, like a little side part of all this. But I also have missed like, we're better than you, baby team. I was like, I've sort of missed all that as well. But the match itself, I was like, crowd is hot for MJF, I was like, the side note that, it's just weird. It's funny seeing from how MJF was the scumbag to he's our scumbag, and the literal, like, heel that he was to the now that he's a face, but he still is him. He's still himself. Even like the little promo the little thing, the vignette in the beginning where he gave the little kid his scarf, and it was like, you're adopted, kind of thing too. That was funny. But MJF really, I was like, it went all around wrestling with this one. Like, you had, like, it was all wrestling, it was all entertainment, it was all like, he did like the whole Hogan pump up kind of thing. I was like, he was selling the hell out the neck. Samoa Joe just seemed like a real threat, and he was like, be honest, I was like, even though MJF was getting he did get some offense in, he had the whole pump up thing, and he was getting into it. Samoa Joe basically beat his ass for nearly the whole match. And I was like, I was like, brought out tables. I was like, he tried to get him with the ring, the ring. That didn't actually happen. He basically had to. I was like, he told Samoa Joe he gonna choke him out, and in every way he couldn't really choke him out. He was never gonna really be able to choke him out. You also ain't gonna choke out the chokeout king either. So he ended up having the string from the turnbuckle, and he basically just choked out Samoa Joe that way while also choking him out, and won the match that way. And they did a little clever spot with him dropping it and stuff like that. And Samoa Joe basically gave him props of being like, "Hey, you choked me out. You said you're going to. You beat me by any means. That's what we're gonna do. Cause I came here to kill you. And that was pretty much all I was doing." But the crowd was pretty much on fire during this whole thing. And I didn't think that Samoa Joe was gonna win, but it made you if the story of the match made you feel Samoa Joe had a chance of taking the title, even though you knew he wasn't going to. Anyway, that was just a brief me going through it. I was like, I had a good time of watching AEW, and I was like, I think now I'm gonna try to get back into watching it daily. I was like, I don't know about all of it because that's a lot of wrestling, but I was like, try to at least be here for Dynamite. We'll see how Rampage can let him go with the extra stuff. But anyway, uh, great night, great title, match, that kind of thing. It was a whole matchup. Anyway, uh, I was like, let me know, key me in on some of them things if you got any more details or little thing of like catch me up or whatever. But if you like the video, hey, thanks. But if not, hey, maybe next time. But until then, we'll see you